Hi guys and welcome to Bomb Anime.
It's your girl Ruka.
And Big Boy Summer here, bringing you our episode 2 of Black Summoner.
So in this episode we basically had a bunch of things that happened between episode 1 and episode 2. I have to immediately say I did not appreciate such character development in terms of their skills happening solely off the screen. And then the flashback about Clotho was really pointless to me because they told us that he evolved and then the flashback was like, oh hey, he evolved. You already told us, so why is the flashback not showing us how he evolved or why he evolved?
Ruka, I kind of have to agree with you here because, like, look, the whole point of watching isekais and characters that are OP who grow in different ways is to watch them grow in different ways. Now, the argument could be said that, you know, watching a summoned pet grow isn't really interesting, but you've given us the concept of a black summoner. I want to see the process of summoning, and that includes looking after your summons and making them OP as well as you, and you're all growing together. I want to see it happen. It's like watching Pokemon. We watch Pokemon evolve all the time, except for Pikachu. I agree with you, Ruka. I kind of wanted to see it.
I also feel like it was important because in this episode, not only was he fighting a gang of people who are used to targeting new adventurers, but we also saw him fighting an extremely strong monster. And although it wasn't like a serious life or death battle, he still was going up against him very, not easily, but he was a good opponent. And we don't know like what kind of development he's had. We know that a week has passed, but we don't even know like the skills that he has now or like how strong he is and how he could possibly have fought this monster who was level 53. He is a high level monster. So I want to know how realistically he can do that when in episode 1 he struggled to kill one single slime. Also, the slime is now a king tier beast, which seems really high up in the ranking system, although we haven't really been told about it. And I don't know how that happened, and especially don't know how that happened in just 1 week. So I feel like we're missing an important piece, it feels like, between these 2 episodes.
I also didn't appreciate not seeing Cashel get his ass bust. I would have liked to see him get beaten up. I would have liked to see how he handled the entire team, like, because it seemed easy, and that's fine. An easy fight can happen. It's not, you know, story breaking. But when the boss of the gang that is against you is about to come up to you, I want to see it. Because I didn't see that, I expected the boss fight to be great. I was willing to sacrifice that fight to get a great boss fight, and the boss fight was kind of subpar in my opinion. Look, I know it sounds like I'm sitting on this anime right now, and I kind of am airing out my grievances, yes, but I am still entertained. I definitely still want to see the next episode, but I feel like what happened between episode 1 and episode 2 could have been its whole episode by itself. Like, I am invested in this anime because I actually really like the concept, and I really like what they've done. Like, some of the things they've done is really well, like having the goddess in his head and the knight in his head now and the slime in his head, and watching the interaction between them lot is quite funny. Watching the goddess get jealous of the clerk is actually quite funny. Him being able to solo, I love solo leveling, so it's endearing to me, so I want it to work. So don't think I'm just shitting on it because I hate it. I'm shitting on it because I want it to do better.
It also didn't help that the CG was so bad during the fight scene, and I'm used to a little bit of bad CG. I mean, even Overlord has its moments where the CG is really bad, but this was terrible, and because it felt like it was missing things, it made it worse. I can watch like a little bit of bad animation and still enjoy the anime. I mean, you kind of just ignore it, don't you? But it's hard to ignore when they've got other things that are missing. However, I actually did like the plot of this episode where you had this adventurer who is titled the Murderer because he goes after new adventurers. He seems to have like a sadistic streak to him, and they had basically made a plan to get Kelvin, and instead, because Kelvin knew what he was doing, he went there ahead of them and set up traps and used his concealment. I liked the way that they told us what concealment did as well, because I thought concealment was just a form of invisibility for him, but they've actually used it in a way where you can set up magic traps and then hide them, so you can do it in advance. So they're kind of like landmines, really. I thought that was a really great use of telling us and showing us. I liked that in general. I liked the trap, the setup, and the scheme of it all. And then he had the bonus element of the 2 gang members that were with Cashel having a bounty on them, so now he's also getting money.
I like the fact that Kelvin is not an idiot. Now, I know it should go without saying, but we've all watched the animes where the main character is a bit of an idiot and does stupid things and still ends up on top. Kelvin had the wherewithal to understand that he was walking into a trap. Kelvin had the wherewithal to understand that he should set his own traps. And Kelvin had the strength and the power to push through and deal with his goals. This is classic shonen and anime tropes that we like and endear ourselves to and wish we could be. So I like it. I felt very connected with Kelvin in that situation. The moment like Cashel came into the shot, I was like, yeah, that blonde haired guy is gonna want to talk to him. And then the moment he opened his mouth, I was like, oh, that's a bad guy. So I loved it. It was cool.
What I would say that I found quite interesting and annoying at the same time was the fact that Kelvin isn't really hiding his strength, and even the goddess at one point was like, I thought you were trying to stay under the radar, and he's not. But what was weird is his use of the slime with these 3 gang members, because isn't that just going to show that he's a summoner? It's not just a normal slime, it's like this massive slime, and it was obviously working against them. So now you have 3 people that have a grudge against you, potentially knowing that you're a summoner. So if that's the case, you might as well just put it on your adventurer ID card and just be sought after by people. I mean, this might even be the reason why at the very end the leader of the Adventurers Guild was waiting for him, because it's kind of made it obvious that he's a summoner. I don't know, why hide it then? I
would hide it until I'm strong enough to not be taken advantage of.
Right.
But that's just me and Jinu's song. But other than that, I don't get it. Yeah, you're right. He's been a bit blatant with everything. And that's all well and good if you could summon the goddess. You know what I mean? Like, if you had the power to decimate nations, you could do what you like. But bro, you're still a rank, what is it, D now? Or has he gone up to D? Or whatever. Because he was F when he started, then he became an E, and then they said, we'll give you a special rank up because of the guild. So he's now ranked D. You're not even an S, mate. But you've got S skills, I get that, but you're not an S.
And you don't have the experience for it.
You don't know this world. You don't know nothing. You even lost your old memories. You're lucky that you've got the gamer spirit at the heart. So, I don't know, man. You're acting kind of silly right now. But I love to see it. I want to know how he overcomes it when the politics starts kicking in, you know?
We also found out in this episode that humans can turn into monsters. And it seemed to be sort of after death. It appeared to be kind of like the way ghosts are, or at least this particular ghost knight, since he is a ghost knight. He mentioned having unfinished business. Maybe it's just this particular type of monster that can be, in a sense, reincarnated, but as a monster after death. I just found that to be an interesting element. It also gives us an idea of where at least some of the monsters are coming from in this world. So I feel like it's a puzzle piece to the world building. He also mentioned that the reason why he was there is because an elf had approached him and his king to start an attack, and they had refused, and the elf said that there would be consequences and wiped them all out with, I mean, it was the American way. It seemed as if they wiped them out with disease.
Wow. Are you talking about how they got rid of the native Indians, giving them smallpox and calling it a Thanksgiving? Because if that's what you're talking about, wow, that's cold, man.
I'm just saying.
It's the American way,
it was very patriotic.
Wow. Wow. We're not even from the USA.
So basically, we are getting, it appears that they are bringing in past events. They did the same thing with Clotho's evolution, saying that this is the first time that this type of monster has been in existence for a very long time, and the last time it existed, it had wiped out an entire city, I think it was.
Yeah, water city.
So it feels as if the past is remanifesting in the present. So we're going to be resolving age-old issues. We've got this Death Knight that wants revenge on these elves, and we've got the first instances of Clotho and what he's becoming and what happened in the past.
Quick question, and this is obviously speculation, Ruka, and I'm asking you, do you think the summons will go against the summoner at some point in this anime?
No, because they're contracted. I'm pretty sure that the contract would automatically say that you can't really mess with the summoner. So maybe the contract can be broken if the summoner doesn't hold up his deal, but because we don't even know what the contract involves and exactly how it works, it's kind of hard to say when it comes to things like that on whether they can turn against their summon.
Hopefully we find out a little bit more lore, because I think that's all we're missing from this anime. A little bit more lore, because the concepts and the plots are actually getting good. I just need more backstory.
And on that note, thank you so much for joining us today.
And if you made it this far, we really, really appreciate you.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and share.
Peace.